Hi all, if you have two microservices or the two services, how you will communicate between those services. So this video is for you. So we'll be using Feign Client to communicate between the two microservices, and we'll be using Spring Boot 3.3.4, Java 17, MySQL, Postman and IntelliJ. So in this video, we'll be creating two demo projects called address services and employee services, and we'll hit the API explaining the below concept like what is Feign client and its real life use case and why it is declarative REST client. And as we said, we will create the two different projects from the Spring initializer, and we will follow the standard software development methodology in our applications, and also a practical demo of consuming address service REST API using the employee service. And lastly, we'll discuss whether we can use a RestTemplate or WebClient instead of Feign Client or not. So let's get started. Before going ahead with the video, I request you please subscribe to the channel to get videos on Spring Boot microservices, REST API, Java. So let's get started. So what is uh, Feign Client actually is? So Feign Client is also known as the Spring Cloud Open Feign is a declarative REST client in Spring Boot web application. What does it mean? It means when we need to specify the client application as an interface, so we need to create one interface only, and the Spring will take care of the implementation for that. So writing the web service with the help of the Spring client is very easy. And why it is needed? Because it is mostly used to consume REST API endpoint which are exposed by the third party or the microservices. So first of all, we'll go to this diagram that what we'll implement in this video. So we will create one address service with address slash employee as in endpoint, and we'll get the address details by employee ID. And we have a separate called employee services where we need to import the Feign kind, and we have the employees slash id means employee slash id will provide all the employee details along with the address for that particular employee. To get the address for the particular employee, we will be using Feign client. So that's the basic architecture that of the project that we will be creating. So I'll go to the Spring initializer, and I will create two different projects as I said, address service and employee service. So let me create that. So I will be using Java language Maven 3.3.4 as a Spring Boot, group ID as com.developer. I will suggest you to code along with me, because otherwise you will forget artifact as address Feign client address Feign client. And I am project of Spring Boot explaining Feign client use case. So we will be using jar package and 17. What are the dependencies needed? Dependency required is as it is a RESTful web services. So for the address we need a web, Spring web. So Spring web is there. We need one more dependency called MySQL driver. So we'll be using MySQL as a database and we need JPA for the connecting with the SQL query. So these are the three fields or the three dependencies we required, and that Feign client dependency we required for the employee service. So I will generate this and I will open in IntelliJ. Meanwhile, I will create another project called employee service. employee service, or the employee Feign client with the same configuration, but here we need to have an dependency called the Feign client. To add this dependency, we have that on OpenFeign. If we see that OpenFeign, so for dependency has been added, I will generate this and I will import on IntelliJ. This on IntelliJ. If we say that address Feign Client, which the project we have created, we'll go to this form.xml file and we'll check that dependency are being added. So I will import this dependency. To import the dependency, we need to do the right click and add as maven project. So it will import all the dependencies. So meanwhile, I will go to this source file main resource. So in this application.properties file, we need to give all the key values pair for connecting with the database. So let me do that. So I have added the details, like I have used context path as an address the service because it will be act as a base path, and there is some JPA configuration as well as the MySQL configuration with my DB name as mydb, username root, password as root, and it will show the SQL query on the logs as well, so, and JDBC driver. So I will quickly create that APIs. Before that, I will go to this diagram again. So address service will be having the address slash employee, that is employee ID, one of the get API. So to create that, we should be have the entity called address and the repository class for that, as well as the service class, so as well as the response class. So this response will be stored on, for example, called as address response. So I will quickly create those things. I have created the controller entity class, repository interface, response class, and as well as the service class. So I will just take a quick time to explain this thing. So address having the entity as an annotation to create the table on the database with ID, city, and name, and with the employee ID. So datasetter will be you can generate the datasetter as well. In the repository interface, we are extending JP repository with address and integer as a primary key and with a repository annotation. So and find by employee ID, we have created one functions. So that will fetch the details of the employee by employee ID. So the related service has been created. So if we check that with the service annotation, so to get in-depth understanding of this project, there is already a similar project, and that is sorry, similar video I have created. So if you go to this channel now, so you will get this video. It is a 25 minutes video. So I have explained the same thing with using the web client. So there also I have created address service, employee service. You can watch and to get a better understanding, because I'll just quickly explain you the basic overview, but there is a lot of annotation is being used. You can watch that video. So if you are still watching the video, I will request you please subscribe to the channel, and if you are facing any issue, please put that on comment section. I will try my best to explain you on the issue. So here set city, get city is being added because we have a response class now. So if we check this response class, it said it is having the ID, city, and state, because it don't have like employee ID. So to map that, so on that on this video we have used the concept called mapper. So here we will not use that. We'll just map that with a getter and setter, and there is a controller class. So it is calling that just a minute, I'll just it is calling that employee ID, find employee by address ID, sorry, find address by employee ID. So this is the there. So so we have created this API. So I will run the application. I will test test that API whether the details are coming or not. Before that, you should have MySQL ready, like MySQL should be up, and I have using that MySQL DB, so that should be also up. So MySQL DB is there. So I will run the application. So application is built and started successfully on 881 port and with base URI as address services. So I'll go to this MySQL and check whether this table is created or not, because the address table is there. So I will use select star from address. So initially it don't have any details. So I will insert some some fields or some data to the table. So now data is there. Now I will go to this postman and I will hit the API called localhost 8821, the address service slash address slash employee ID. If you see now the slash address service, the base address, and go to this controller, then slash address slash employee ID, and if we hit this, then we will get the details, address details provided by employee, which is having ID as a 2. So for the ID, it is Pune and Maharashtra. So for the employee ID 2, Pune and Maharashtra it is showing. So now it is confirmed that this API is working fine. So I'll go to the diagram again. If we see that the address, this address service is working fine. Now I'll be quickly create this employee service already created. I will just create the some getter setter controller class and other packages as per the standard software development process. I will create those one. Let me create those, and also like also we need to do the same things on application.properties file. So I have added all the details, all the files. Let me explain you one by one. So in the employee service, we have this founded XML file. So we'll check that starter open thing where the Feign Client will be using that things already is being imported. So I will then go to this employee entity because it should have one employee table with ID, name, email ID, and age, and the repository created the same for the repository, and the response is there. So address response will be there as soon as the employee response, and the employee response will have the address response. So here for that reason address response created a private entity. So now before going to the controller class, so as I mentioned, so it is a declarative REST client. So for that we need to have an interface mentioning the client configuration. So for that we have created a Feign Client as an interface annotated with Feign Client, and then there will be a three attribute. Name is the name of the application. From here we will be consuming the API, that is address slash Feign Client, sorry, address hyphen Feign Client, and the URL, that is base URL, as if you see that it is running on 8081, and the path, that's the base path for the application, and there will be get mapping because we will be using this get API only. So address slash address slash employee ID. So slash address slash employee ID, and the interface you can write is any name and with the ID. So we no need to create the implementation for that. The Spring will automatically take care of that. So we'll go to this controller class. So on that controller class, we are having the employee slash ID. We'll get the details from the employee service. We'll get an employee ID. So we'll go to this service class where we need to auto add this address client. So and this address client is calling the get address by employee ID API. Get address by, sorry, not API, yeah, get address by employee ID, this functions. If we check the uses, is coming here only. So almost everything is done. I will go to this application.properties file also. So here also you need to meet the port application context path and other database configuration type of things. So to use that Feign Client in this application, we need to enable the Feign Client. So there is an option called enable. So we have enable the Feign Client. So we run this application. Before running the application, I will make this address service application up. I will go back to this address service. As you know, this is already working. And so once it up, then I will run the employee service application. So both the address services is run at 8080 and the employee service also run as 8080. Sorry, the address service run at 8081 and the employee service run as 8080. With the base path as employee service, will hit this API employee service slash employee slash ID, because that is the ultimate target of for us, right? This is employee ID, sorry, it's employee slash ID. So before that, I will go to this MySQL and will refresh the MySQL DB. So employee table is created. So now, for now, there will be no values or the no data for the employee table. So I'll insert some value. I'll check select star from employee. So now the data is there. So I'll go to this postman and I will hit that localhost 8080, right? Localhost 8080 slash employee service slash employees slash ID. So employee service slash employees slash ID. So ID I have written as 2. So for this ID 2, for this ID 2 is the ID, and what address we have the Pune and Maharashtra. So yeah, and the details is coming for ID to Pune and Maharashtra is there. So that's all about the video. So if you face any issue, you can ask on the comment section. So thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe to the channel to get